Hey everybody, I wanted to do an upload tonight on the Shroud of Turin and the Knights Templar, and just kind of proving they had some of the most important religious artifacts of all time. And I believe the Shroud of Turin has been believed to be the burial cloth of Christ through the time of Christ. Whether it was or not is a whole other matter, but I believe people have believed it for 2,000 years. And sometimes with religious artifacts they can be dismissed, but when the legend of, or the actual history of the artifact starts, 15, 1800 years ago, then you kind of have to wonder where this is actually coming from. But I just find it fascinating. I've watched documentaries on the Shroud of Turin lately and hoping to get some answers, and they have actually provided more questions than answers, and I just find the whole thing fascinating. But anyway, a little history of the Shroud. The legend kind of starts at the time of Christ, actually. And I'm just going to do a little reading here. I will leave these links below. And the original first mention of the Shroud, or what we know today as the Shroud, comes from Turkey. I'll just read. The city of Edessa was located in southeastern Turkey and is now called Urfa. And I believe that is near Göbekli Tepe, in case you know where that is. This city was ruled at the time of Christ by King Abgar V. A manuscript from the early 4th century recites one version of the legend. It seems that King Abgar was sick with an incurable illness, and hearing of the miracle worker Jesus, he sent a letter to him by messenger requesting that Jesus come to him and cure him. Jesus replied that he could not come because he would be returning soon to his Father, but that he would send someone who would cure him and show him the way of everlasting life. As the legend goes, after the resurrection, Thomas, one of the 12, sent another disciple, Thaddeus, to King Abgar with the shroud. Abgar was healed and converted to Christianity. Near the end of the 2nd century, Edessa fell under the control of the Byzantine Empire. Now, that's just kind of the legend, but it does appear, the shroud does appear in Turkey in 525 AD. Remarkably, it says, in 525 AD, a flood drowned 1/3 of the population of Edessa, and during the recovery efforts, it is said that a secret chamber was found over the west gate of the city. In the chamber was a chest containing the image in excellent condition. It was thought to have been hidden there during a period of Christian persecution by Abgar V's second son, Manu VI. It was then known as the Edessa cloth. It says, after the Muslims had taken control of Edessa, the Byzantine Empire, they bartered with the controlling Emir and swapped the release of 200 Muslim prisoners, 12,000 pieces of silver, and a promise not to attack the city for the cloth. So the cloth was swapped for a promise not to invade, and for prisoners, and for silver. It says the cloth, soon to be known as the Mandilion, during its stay in Constantinople, arrived on August 5th, 944 AD. It says, it is thought that the cloth was folded 3 times to form 8 layers, so that the top layer showed only the frontal head image. And that is important for something I'm going to talk about at the very end here. But that seems to be something that kind of has stayed with the shroud. This legend of it being folded 3 times to form 8 layers, so that just the head is showing. It says it remained in Constantinople until the city was sacked by Crusaders in 1204 AD. And where it went from then was a mystery, but it really isn't a mystery. It was sacked during the Crusades, and the Knights Templar had the Shroud of Turin. And this talks about an article about some documents that were found. And this talks about a Barber Fraile. It says, well, I'm going to read this part first here. It says, after the Crusaders lost the Holy Land with the fall of the city of Acre in 1291, support for them weakened. Accused of both heresy and engaging in corrupt, sexually immoral secret ceremonies, the order's leaders were arrested by King Philip IV of France. The king pressured Pope Clement V to dissolve the Knights Templar, which he did in 1307. And it says they were accused of both heresy and engaging in corrupt and sexually immoral secret ceremonies. I think that was all bunk. I think Philip IV of France owed the Knights Templars a hell of a lot of money, and this is just the easiest way he dealt with it. But with that said, this Barber Fraile, it says Fraile reported that a trial document recounts the testimony of Arnaud Sabatier, a young Frenchman who entered the Knights Templar in 1287. He testified that as part of his initiation, he was taken to a secret place to which only the brothers of the temple had access. He was shown a long linen cloth on which was impressed the figure of a man, and other Templars who testified of the exact same thing. He says, and they were instructed to venerate the image by kissing its feet 3 times. Frail said the Knights Templar had been accused of worshipping idols, in particular a bearded figure. So I believe from 1204 AD to right around the early 1300s, the Templars were in possession of what we know today as the Shroud of Turin. And I came across this article and I find it very interesting. It says, in the region of southern France near a Templar chapel, a very strange wayside cross is found in a field named in Breton. It says the Templar cross is mentioned in a French book about the Templars. This is a strange monument and it is difficult to find. It is hidden in a thickly forested area situated in a field near an unremarkable road leading to this chapel, and I'm not going to try to pronounce it. But I'm going to show you what's underneath this cross, and it is an image of this winged figure holding this thing with an image of a bearded figure in the middle. And remarkably, if you fold the Shroud of Turin, so just remember how I said it was folded so many times, so just the face was showing, this is the exact dimensions of what the shroud would be, and that looks very much like the bearded figure on the Shroud of Turin. And this is a Templar church, and this cross was said to be put where they buried something of very importance. And the Shroud of Turin shows up in 1357, just 5 years before I believe the Templars came across and planted the Kensington runestone in Kensington, Minnesota, as a claiming of North America. But I think this is fascinating that there is documents that they actually had the Shroud of Turin and they worshipped it, and it was one of the great Templar treasures. And this Templar cross and this little depiction underneath it is an exact representation of the Shroud of Turin when it is folded and just the head is shown. So that is the connection between the Knights Templar and the Shroud of Turin, and a little bit of the history of the Shroud of Turin. If anybody wants to comment on what they know about it, I find it fascinating. Hope you thought this was cool. Have a nice day.